Hey, buddy. Yeah. All right. So we're filming. Hey, Magic Mike XXL here. Your redneck from mid-Missouri, but I got someone even more redneck with me today, and that is my nephew David. And we're going to do a review of this 2014 Chevrolet Equinox LTZ. This is the top of the line big dog here as far as the Equinox goes. So when I asked my sister if I could review this car, he immediately said it sucks for a fat person. So I wanted to get his opinion. Why does it suck for a fat person?
Because you kind of crank down and fold yourself up to get into it, and especially the passenger side is actually worse than the driver's side.
Oh, really? So like you have to fold yourself up to get into it. Okay, yeah, all right.
One-step process.
All right, YouTube, we're in the car. We're in the Equinox. I got my nephew David with me. Maybe you can lean over and see you. Hey, anyway, well, let's talk about this 2004 Equinox LTZ. You know, Chevrolet originally come out with this car in 2005, and the first generation to me was pretty ugly, you know. And then this newest generation come out in 2010, and it's a much better looking vehicle. This particular one, I really like the black. There's a lot of chrome accents on it. This is the LTZ, so it's got all the cool stuff, so it looks really nice. You know, this vehicle has had a lot of different engines, a lot of different manufacturers of transmissions along the way. I gotta stop with the ums. Anyway, it came with a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder when it first came out, and then you could get an optional 3-liter. But in the second generation, you could get a 2.4 liter, or you can get a 3-liter 6-cylinder, or you could get a 3.6 liter 6-cylinder, and that's what this car has. The 4-cylinder version had 180 horsepower. The 3-liter 6 had 260, and this one has 300 in this LTZ. The value, let's talk about the Blue Book value of this car. Currently, the Blue Book retail on this 2014 LTZ with the miles it has, the retail's around 18,000, 17.5, 18,000, something like that for the full-blown retail if you go to a dealership. Now, if you're going to buy this from a private party, Kelley Blue Book, I looked it up this morning, is 16, 17,000, somewhere in that range, depending on if it's, you know, fair, good, or excellent condition kind of thing. So this vehicle has plenty of power. It's a pretty small vehicle with 300 horsepower, so that's not an issue at all. It has fairly good mileage. The 4-cylinder version gets around 23. This one gets around 20. When I looked a while ago, it's getting 19.5, and that's mixed, you know, driving city and highway kind of thing. It has a 6-speed automatic transmission in it. It shifts pretty smooth. I noticed when I was backing up in reverse and first taking it off, it almost feels like it's slipping, almost like a CVT, you know, but that's a normal thing for this, I guess, to put out the smoothness of the vehicle. There is a couple recalls I looked up this morning. The 2 recalls that I noticed is there's a windshield wiper motor that gets burned out. I guess moisture or water or something gets down in the module that controls the windshield wipers, and it burns out the module. And the other thing is the electric parking brake will fail. So I guess it run over some dudes, you know, because it failed when they were getting out of the car when it was still running. So those 2 things. It's pretty firm on the seat belt. And as far as extra space, if you're fat, I'm at my fullest extent, and I could probably only get another inch or another 40 pounds of weight before I'd have to get a seatbelt extension. So that's a strike for a fat person buying this car. I mean, who wants to buy seatbelt extensions, right? And it just proves that you're fat.
My head in the A-pillar's a strike.
Yeah. The other thing is, like he said, the A-pillars, well, for one thing, the visibility, the A-pillars are thick, man. They're probably 6.5, 7 inches thick, so that really limits the visibility. The mirrors are really tiny on this vehicle. They do have that little third wide angle spot on the mirrors that helps a little bit, but they're tiny. And the back glass, it's okay, but the headrests in the back seat block visibility, so you only got like a narrow window to look out the back glass. The brakes are adequate. They're four-wheel disc brakes. The rotors look kind of tiny to me when I look. They're probably only 11 or 12 inch rotors. They're kind of small. Wind noise and road noise, it's a Chevrolet, you know, so it's not going to be super quiet or anything like that. It does have a little bit of road noise in here, and at highway speeds it's got wind noise coming in through the seals. You know, it's not a Japanese car.
That's what jamming the radio's for. Cover all that up.
So, is this where we're stopping right here in this parking lot?
Make a left.
Oh, make a left. So, like he said, turn up the radio and you won't notice it, kind of thing. So, seating position, here's the problem. His head, and he's all the way back.
3 fingers away from the post.
He's maybe an inch away from the ceiling, and he's maybe 2 inches away from the B pillar. That's the B pillar, right? Yeah. Okay.
And it's got my shoulder rolled out, so like my shoulder's not even touching the seat right now.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's uncomfortable, man. So, well, I'll get out and show it to you, but his right shoulder, he has to ride at an angle in the passenger seat of this car just to make it bearable. And his elbow and shoulder is mad core hitting the glass right now. So it is a little crunched up in here. Foot room, I do have some foot room in here.
My legs are extended pretty good.
His yeah, passenger legs, he's, you know, over 6 foot, and his legs are extended well, so it's working fine. So, road trip, maximum hours. My right knee is hardcore hitting a hard piece of plastic right here on the center console, so I would not like to ride in this car for maybe more than 4 hours before I would have to get out, because my knee would be sore from knocking the center console, because I have to spread, you know. And the left leg, it's decent, you know, the side panel's at a nice angle, so it's not an issue there. How about you? How many hours do you think you could do in this? Because you have to sit sideways in that seat.
Over here, not very long. I drove it back and forth to the lake, which was about a 3-hour drive.
3 hours, and that's about all you could do?
Yeah, but there's a lot of beating the dogs back, you know, keeping them in the back seat. So I got plenty of activity and motion.
Okay.
Keep me limber.
All right. Well, we're going to pull over here. We're going to find a parking lot. We'll do some measurements. I'll fly the drone around a little bit and do a little more talking about this. All right, YouTube. Magic Mike XXL here. We're going to measure this thing out and see if it'll fit a fat person. And I'm very skeptical, but let's give it a try. Got out my Fat Boy tape. You know, I should buy a Fat Max. You know, Stanley Fat Max for fat people reviews, you know. I got one. I got a 16 footer. Oh. Okay, so that's pretty standard on the door opening width. It's 38. All right, so from the ground to here where you have to duck in and get on, it's 59 and a half, and that's the duck height. 59.5. Okay, so here's the key position right here for ease of entry. It is 28 and a half. It's pretty good. 28.5. All right, seat bottom width. I'm going to be in the middle of the seat, and this for the top of both bolsters, it's 20.5. And then the part where you would actually put your butt is 13. In the middle of the seat to the headliner is 36. So not bad. So let's go seal to the center here. That's 41, and that is a little low. All right, so that's the measurements, but the part that I normally don't measure, which is an issue, is how close in proximity this seat edge is to the door, and how this is curved so much. So when you've got wide shoulders or you're fat, when you're sitting in this thing, your shoulder is wanting to hit the glass, you know, if that makes any sense too. All right, so I'm going to get in this thing. I'm going to step left foot in and scoot over. It's not bad to get in, you know, for me, but I immediately don't like this left armrest and this right console for sure. But anyway, okay, we'll get out. These bolsters are pretty high and they're pretty firm, so that's one of the issues in this leather. I usually find that on leather. So these are, you know, more like race car seats with these high bolsters in them, and that's what makes it uncomfortable. That's exactly right. Like a soccer mom thinks he's going fast. All right, well, we're going to sign off, and we're going to take the GoPro around the inside of the car to show you kind of the buttons and things like that. All right, peace out. All right, so the seat is 20 inches. Vehicle here. Let's start this thing up. And you immediately get this MyLink system that Chevrolet's been using in here, and it's a touch screen system, and it's pretty responsive, but it only works the radio controls, you know, and it's got a rear view camera on it. Like, I'll put it in reverse real quick here, and it seems like the camera, either the camera itself or the display, is like a low resolution. It seems like in 2014 that we could have had some more of an HD system going on here. And it has the typical hands-free phone situation there and some radio controls for the volume. It also has a collision alert, lane departure alert, and the cruise control settings here with the resume up and down. And here's the hand rest. The hand rest is comfortable, you know, you lay it on here, but the issue is when you're in this seat, you have to be torqued sideways because you can't sit in this seat flush. So when you're actually sitting in this seat and you adjust yourself, you're at an angle, and it creates you hitting this. And this material is hard plastic, you know, so your arm is constantly, your elbow is constantly hitting this, and it's a very hard material, so it's really tough on a road trip. You know, if this was softer and if you could sit straight in the seat, it would be fine. But anyway, it has the typical shifter control here, and this here, to get it into reverse, there's a little button up in here where you have to actually pull it up to engage it, which is a little bit, I'm gonna say, strange. You know, it's a little bit unnatural to use it that way. It has a glove box here, and then the center console opens up, and it's illuminated, which is nice. And it actually has a 3.5 inch input and a USB charger down in there, which is pretty nice. And the armrest itself folds down flush, and this is a softer material, which is nice, and your arm fits in here comfortably, so it's not an issue really with the right armrest. When you're sitting in here, like I said, you got to sit sideways, and your knee is constantly hitting this hard plastic area, and that's a real detractor. Your left side knee is hitting this, but it's at a nice angle, so that's not much of a detractor there. Okay, overhead center console, we have the controls for the lift gate and the powered moonroof, and then the courtesy lights here. And then you have an illuminated mirror for the driver, and you have an illuminated mirror for the passenger. This does have the system where you can hook it up to your garage door opener, but I guess she's decided not to program that. And there's the look out of the back glass. If you guys can see that, there's headrests there that kind of get in your way. But anyway, visibility is nice, and there is a little control panel here. When we were driving a while ago, we were sliding a little bit, and there was like a traction control sort of thing that beeped there and scared the crap out of us. But anyway, okay, well that's it. That's my review of the inside of this Equinox, and I'll be right back. All right, let's walk around this Equinox LTZ. I'll just do a slow walk around. It looks like it's got HID fog lights, driving lights. It's got a normal HID there. It's got a lot of chrome on it, and I really like the black and chrome look. Like I said, Chevrolet always does really good on their wheels. Sorry it's a little dusty, but to get that shot at the creek, we had to drive through some gravel. Yeah, I really like the contrast. We got chrome handles, chrome trim. And the other thing that I always dig is dual chrome tipped exhaust. That's pretty nice, right? Even though it's dusty. It does have a little hitch. I think that's an aftermarket deal. Equinox LTZ. It's probably just a class 2. So and that is the walk around. All in all, a pretty nice looking vehicle. So I'm here with the owner of the Equinox LTZ, this beautiful young lady, and I want to ask her a couple questions, like how long have you had it?
For about a year now.
Yeah. So you're not fat, but how easy it is for you to get in and out of it?
Well, it ain't too bad. Just it does set kind of low. I'm used to something a little higher.
Yeah. So tell me what kind of cars you had previously. I know you had a Pathfinder, you had a Trailblazer,
and a Yukon.
A Yukon. Mm-hmm. So out of all those, which one would you recommend to buy?
A Yukon.
Yukon. And you were telling me that the storage in the back, like for groceries and stuff like that's just really minimal and you kind of irritating. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I don't really like the cargo area. I travel to multiple store locations. When I go grocery shopping, I live 20 miles away, so I have to take a cooler with me, and there's just not much room in there.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I just got through driving it. It seems like it's got a lot of power. It handles pretty good. It's fairly quiet. Do you have any issues with rattles or squeaks or anything like that?
No, pretty smooth ride. I like everything about it except for the cargo area.
Yeah. Well, your son just hates it, right? Because, like, your son and myself, we had to basically sit sideways in it to get comfortable, and the bolsters are really thick. It's the LTZ, so it's got those high bolsters. I guess it might meant to be sporty, but the seat's comfortable for you?
Yeah, they're okay. I don't really like I like the backup camera fine and everything, but I don't really trust it because I've never had a vehicle with a backup camera. Yeah. And it's really hard to see unless you like roll your window down, stick your head out the window to back up.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that too when I was driving it. Those B pillars are just super thick. The A pillars are super thick, so the visibility is crap, and the mirrors are kind of tiny. But
yeah, I just don't like the issues with that. The back.